here. Okay, what's up, Murray? Hope you're doing good. Let me pull up the Miro. I do want to show. How's the internet? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Smooth.
Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna be going over this. Wait a minute, what does that share option look like here? Oh, dang. Wow, so I can be down in the corner, huh? What do I look like to you guys?
Just you outlined. There's no background.
There's nothing behind me?
There's nothing behind you. You're like grayed out, or it looks like the same color as the Zoom.
What the hell? Hmm. Well, I guess we'll just stick with this. Can you guys see the screen now?
Yeah.
Is that big enough to see?
What do you mean? The main screen or the sides on the side?
Like the the main screen, like the can you read that pretty well?
Yeah.
Cool. What's up, Heather? I like that hat. Got the matching headphones, the whole 9 yards. Um, okay, so I wanted to go through this. I want to go through it quickly because I know all of you here are pretty familiar with this. Um, I just got done doing it on a live, but it was pretty choppy. I think the internet was. I need to get Starlink. I think that's the answer for right now. Anyway, until the planet gets higher tech. Seen a bunch of dolphins out here this morning, though. That was cool. Okay, so first and foremost, do you guys have, so this is what we're going to go over. I'll jump into this here just shortly, but do you guys have any other questions? I mean, you guys are all members. This is like the free workshop for the free people, but I've I've rescheduled this thing twice today. I've had a bunch of people reach out and they're like, what are you doing? Like, where's it at? Like, what happened? So it is what it is. Um,
Yeah. I
so
did have a question or just kind of giving you some updates. Tomorrow, actually, I'll be launching the Just Run school community to the high schoolers here locally. So I've created a slideshow and we're talking about summer training and things of that nature. And the kids here, we're looking to do a cohort of about 6 to 15 members as like the V1/beta. So I'll keep you posted on how many actually sign up, but we've started to consider what a 6 month package would look like, as well as a year package, because some of the parents are just going to be fully bought into the yearly package from the get-go. And right now we've just been finishing up proposals and we're really close to finalizing the onboarding for the coaches that we're bringing on.
mhm.
One of the coaches is a sports nutritionist and she has 19,000 followers on Instagram. So she's really active with posting. And she said she would do collab posts with us, as well as I told her any type of content that we produce together inside of Skool, I'll take care of the content, the editing, and the publishing. So that way she has access to that. It's kind of incentivizing them in that fashion too, of like, hey, you'll get content out of this that you can drive one-off offers.
Mm.
And so we're kind of navigating that space. So it's been a couple weeks of, making sure everyone has their schedules dialed in, figuring out what everyone's availability looks like. But the offer is starting to really come together nicely. And I'm really glad how we have all this different value coming in from the strength and conditioning coach, the nutritionist, the professional track and field coach, as well as a physical therapist who's here locally too, which is a team mom. And then I'll be handling all the content marketing and publishing for that. So curious to see how it unfolds over the next 3 or 6 months.
Yeah, it's so interesting what I've noticed since you found your lane, how cohesive everything is, how it's just flowing. You seem so much more like just focused and like everything just seems like it's so much more fluid with you now because you like it's an amazing thing when you find that thing. Like when you find, I gotta make sure I know which camera I'm looking at. There's three of them. Um, it's amazing what happens when you find the thing, though. You know, when you find that thing and it's something that you're actually really aligned with, how everything just seems to like be working, and it just comes out of the woodwork of like people to connect with and what to do. And when you go to make the offer, you're so much more confident in it. You are
Right.
willing to charge what it's actually worth, and you show up just completely shoulders back. Like it just, I can sense it with you so much. I think it's so cool. And I can't wait. I really want Landon. He just went running. V's his girlfriend. Um, she rode the bike beside him and he was running out here, and it started raining on him. But I want him to really dive in with you, because I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be neat for him to see that, because I know he wants to make money like we make, and he's like going to school right now. He's just focused on running, but he sees the money we're making. He sees like how we work, like this, and he just loves that idea. But I don't think he can, and he loves running, but I don't think he can see where it can all come together, yet.
Right.
And um, he wants to help me like edit videos and do different things just to kind of get into it, and it's just neat. Like it's neat when you find that thing. And I'm sure Heather, from last time we spoke, what was it, Monday? No, Thursday. Um, I'm sure you've had just such a different perspective since then. Yeah. The
I think,
alignment just opens up, and it just everything starts to just like click click. So it's so important to find that thing.
yeah, I'm super excited. I think there's going to be a big full circle moment eventually when you host a in-person workshop. And then who knows, Landon could be inside the community. He's getting
Mm.
value out of it. And it's like connecting the coach that I have here in person who's sponsored by Hoka. There's like a lot of just the energy around it. It's like, it's great.
Dude, you should see these Hoka sandal things that I bought.
I know
They're
which ones
like,
you're talking about. The slides.
they're like real, they're bulky, but they're like, no, they're not slides.
Oh, they're not slides.
These are like water shoe style,
Gotcha.
but they're like hefty.
Mm.
Um, they're kind of, Hoka's famous gigantic look, but it they're good though. Um, yeah, no, so I, I'm super pumped for what you're doing, and it's just gonna keep unfolding. Um, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be so good. I love what Heather, your thing's just gonna crack open too. I have those two clouds. Oh, wait, I can't hear you.
Okay, I took it off mute.
Okay, there you go.
My girls are napping, but I can talk lightly. Yeah, everything's coming into place. I think really knowing like who I'm talking to though, it could, if that's really the beginner, like someone who's never picked up a spray tanning gun before, or someone who already has a studio but maybe wants to outsource themselves because, you know, if if there was 10 things I wish I knew before I started a spray tanning business, a few of them might be like you kind of sell your soul in a way. I mean, it's 365, 24/7, because when you create yourself as a service celebrity, people then like rely on you for their wedding and holidays and everything. So I was always like slave running through big times of the year, and I never really got a vacation, which is why at the end of a 10-year stint, I was like, I am running as far fast as I can away from continuing to do this, because COVID was like a blessing in a way that allowed me to slow down. And I've been wanting to transition into what I'm doing with you here for the last 4 years. But like I said, the tech and the combo was just like not working out for me with Kajabi and so forth. So I'm happy to be here, but I'm also afraid to create more people like me because it really burnt me out.
So the person that I would focus on is the person that it means the most to right now, which is most likely
Okay.
when I think about you, is I think about who who's got the money? Because
Okay.
for you to make this work, you have to have that. Number two, and the person that would have the money would not give it to you unless they wanted to, because they needed to, because they have the problem that you can fix. So it's never,
Right.
who's got our money? It's never thinking like that. It's always,
Mhm.
because you'll never get the money unless they want to give it to you. You know, you could slip by a few times maybe, but then it'll just crash and burn if you don't have a real
Mhm.
thing. By the way, do you guys, just so I know, is there any feedback of you hearing yourself at all?
On your end, no.
You can't hear. Okay. And is it clean right now? Like, is it pure? Okay. So the the next thing is, I'm thinking, okay, when you started sharing what you're doing and everything, I started to immediately think about you and where you were with the car payment thing. Like, I think the
Mhm.
person you're talking to has held a spray gun before. I think the person you're talking to is somebody that
Mm,
is,
got it.
yeah, at a salon now. They're not earning enough, and they have that realization where if they just knew how to get out there on their own, I don't know where it is, what it's like where you're living or Sahil or anybody else, but I can drive down the road and there is strip malls just vacant. I see like just shop buildings vacant.
Mm,
And it's like, could you show them how to go get one of those corner shops for 500 a month or something? And could you show them a blueprint of how to get in there? Or could you, the mobile thing was just like, to me. So I was like, can you, yeah, like Sahil, talk to the burnt out version of yourself. Yeah, yeah. You go that mobile to me, your
mm,
your secret formula is $8 to $15 an hour girl, burned out at the shop, tired of her boss that's, not being a good boss or manager. I'm not that there's
mhm.
not good ones, but some aren't. I mean, we just did this with Chelsea. She was at a salon and her checks kept bouncing at the bank because the gal didn't know how to manage her stuff. And it's like, so it was like, okay, we could go get our own building, pay nothing practically for it. It's in a small strip mall. She's got 3 or 4 chairs available. She's got a little front desk reception area, and now she's got 2 or 3 rooms in the back that we're knocking down some walls, and we're going to set some more chairs up because we've got a gal in there that can do an extensions. We've got another gal that does like, Chelsea does like colors and stuff really good. Got another gal who's going to do like cuts real well. It's not that much money, and the chairs pay for the whole
Mhm.
building. So it's like, how can you take a Chelsea or that? Because she was the same way. She was like, what the hell? And she was getting like, I want to say 30% of her cuts and colors. And I'm like, what? And then had to pay chair rental and materials. And I'm like, what? This has Z. And then the checks don't cash. So it was like, okay, you know, so that's who I think you're talking to. Cause she was so flustered. It was like, think like we've done stuff before, it's like, yeah, let's just get a building. Um,
Mhm.
so I think that's who you're talking to. I think that you would be able to make headlines that they could not resist. You know, go from flustered spray tan employee to mobile spray tan freedom kind of thing. Pick who you want to work with. Would you rather, it's like, did you know that you could have your own, did you know as a spray tan artist, you could go on your own and have a mobile thing? Let me talk to you about that in this video. How I set up my schedule for my mobile spray tanning business. This is like getting them to see the vision and like, oh man, whoa. And you can do this with anything, right? Like Sahil can do this, freaking Marie can do this. It's always about that. It's like, like I sit here today and I'm thinking about the content I want to do. And I was like, you know what? I just want to talk about the blueprint again. So literally before I went live, um, I created this. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I created this 5 minutes before I went live, and I taught on this for like an hour and a half live. It's on YouTube right now. It was pretty crappy because I had bad internet and my energy was kind of just crappy. I'm like sitting here like sunburnt as shit. Like, I'm so sunburnt. Like, every move I make, it's like, so I was like kind of just whatever. But I was like, whatever, let's go. So I had this, and then which this right here I taught on just this one slide. And then I just made this little thing up here. Just, I was like, I have just, it's, just having these little things like this. And then this is what I created, because that's going to be the new success formula, is this like 9-step wealth blueprint thing. And I like to use color coding, because color and number coding like this, because for some odd reason, it just sticks better. Like people like red, green, blue, like it's, that's the colors of whatever. Um, it just seems to stick better for people. So if you can anytime do that, this is good. And then
I like that.
yeah, it's like, because what I know is I have to get you to have success. Like, if you come to me and you don't get anywhere and you don't have any success, my shit don't work, because people are like, it's a broken refrigerator. It doesn't work. It doesn't do it. So I know that
Mhm.
I have to get you to do it. Like, I have to get you success, because if I don't, then you don't say nice things. People don't see winning happening. And
Mhm.
it's like, well, I'm not going there. And then nobody else
Mhm.
comes, and then it just stagnates, right? Um, so yeah, this membership thing,
Got it.
yeah. I mean, does that make sense? Like,
This is so much more clear to me now. Like, okay, I will say that I've been, obviously struck by lightning since Thursday, but the one thing that's been meandering is who I'm talking to.
mm,
Is it the person who doesn't even know, like, that she has to get a tanning machine and a tent, and like, no, I have to teach them the this is what you need list. And I know I need to do that, but I can do that to someone who already speaks the language and then take them up.
mm. It's,
So I prefer that.
I had the hardest problem with that too forever. I didn't really know who I was talking to. And it seems like
Mhm.
it would be so obvious, sometimes. And this is where coaching and things like this are so powerful, because it's not like I'm sitting over here, this person that knows more than you. It's just sometimes you can't get outside of your own brain. Like, you just need
Mhm.
somebody to be like, no, that. And you're like, and that is the one last little number that you needed to unlock the thing. And where you're at right now, and you're having this aha moment and these things, it really doesn't have really anything to do with me. You just needed to hear something. You just needed somebody else's perspective that is kind of like thinking like that. Like, my favorite
Mhm.
thing to do is what we did with you on Thursday. Like, if I could just do that with people, that's probably
Mhm.
one of my best capacities that I can help people. Bring me your idea, bring me your thing, and let's go. Like,
Mm.
it's one of my favorite things to do is like work out the big picture, the ideas, and then get into the nitty, because now it's like, okay, you have the big picture, but now
Mhm.
how can we put this into action? And that's where,
Mhm.
the next stage of what I need to do has to work too. Like, okay, what is the details of that mission now, you know? And
Mhm.
so, and I used to make this so much more complicated, but then it's like everywhere in my life when I go to do something and what I do naturally, like when I'm doing this stuff, like what I'm doing with you right now, or like if I go live, or like if I create content, or if I create a course, it just feels so second nature to me. Like
Mhm.
I don't have to, it just like it's like and it wasn't this way when I got started, believe me. Okay. Like it just, but I'm just like, yeah, I've got to create content about this. Like I've got to create, you know, they're unaware or they're aware, but they can't put together the details, or now they got the details pretty much together, but now they're trying to decide, do I use the Tresemme shampoo or the other shampoo? You know, they're like trying to figure out, like looking at the back of the bottle going, which one? And it's like, I know people have to go through that before they're going to buy.
Mhm.
And then I have to make sure that they're the right person, and figuring out that right person almost opens all those doors. Because if you think about, now that you know who your girl is, it's like
Mm.
her awareness. If we're talking about the girl that we just picked up, and I hope, are you guys picking up, like Sahil and Marie, are you guys, you're picking up from this, right? Like, is this helpful?
Yeah, for sure. I'm thinking about like how when I first started with my messaging, how you helped me with that. And now it's so easy to see once you get it the first time, you can start
Mm.
helping other people really easily as well.
Well, with, you know, you knowing who your customer is, you know, and there's always a start out customer, and then there's like the other customers. So let me give you an example of what I mean. When Tesla started, they started with their most expensive Roadster, which was like a couple $100,000 or whatever. And
Mhm.
then that, selling that high-end package, that high-end car, to a handful of people, they made several million. And they could take that several million now and serve the next layer of customer, which was the
Mm.
mid-size car, like the 50,000, 30, $20,000 car. And then they made enough money to, for that to go down and start selling like their cheapest car. Because, and I think Alex Hermosi did a really good video on this a couple weeks ago or something, or whatever it was. And he laid this out again where, and I've talked about this for years. It's just always been known. Frank Kern does a really good video about it too. So does Brennan Burchard. But basically it's like, it's really taxing and expensive to sell the cheapest customer, because
Mhm.
if they have only, let's just, you know, imagine it very quickly. And this goes for you too, Sahil, and like Marie and everybody and whoever's listening. If I want to sell a, you know, $49 a month product, okay, that person that is going to buy that, let's say that they only have, after they pay all their bills, they're making, let's say 60 to 70 grand a year, which is your typical, you know, earnings or whatever. If they're making that, and let's say they, you know, most people making 60 to 70 grand a year, or let's just call it 60 to 100, okay? They've probably got a spouse and a kid or two. All right. Now
Mhm.
we've got a couple cars. We're trying not to live like we're po, so we've got a decent house, and they're basically paycheck to paycheck. Maybe have a grand after it's all paid each month, you know. So or something like that. And then you're asking at it, let's say if they have $1,000 left over, you're asking them to give you $50 a month, and their brain is just like doing everything it can to keep the wheels turning on everything, because they're not in this mind of, oh, there's just abundance of wealth out there. Like they're locked in on this like salary or this hourly or whatever,
Mm.
right? So when you're asking them to give you $50 a month, you're asking them to give you, that's 2 hours of work or something, you know, like, whereas if you're talking, so when you sell, so what I mean by that is they're like, I've got to get the most bang for my buck, is what I'm saying. So when you've got somebody that you're selling a low ticket item to, and they're like in consideration of it, they're looking at it like, I have to make every single penny count. I got to get the most bang for the buck. And so they're gonna be very needy. They're gonna be now this is I'm generalizing, okay? Please, right? Like let's focus like they're gonna want every single detail for that low ticket because they gotta stretch that dollar. They gotta make it work. Like they gotta make that every dollar count, right? Then you go to the next level where you've got somebody that's gonna pay you maybe a couple grand, right? They're gonna pay you 2, 3 grand to learn your thing, right? This person is the person that buys like a $50,000 to $70,000 car, right? They're probably making, 1 to 300 grand a year. So spending a couple grand even a month is like they can't be too nonchalant, but they don't really care, right? Because they have enough extra each month to like, it's like, okay, I'm willing to do that to get a better quality, to get a better thing, but they're still not just like they can't be belligerent with their money, you know? And then you've got the people that are like 500 grand plus, 50, 60 grand a month plus. They can live in a nice home, nice car, have extra, and still have 30 grand a month left, right? Or something like that, right? Like they have plenty after it's all said and done. This person, they'll spend 10 grand with you. I've had people like multiple people spend 5,800, 9,800 and never even log in to my program. They'll just get on a couple calls and they're like, cool, man, thanks. I had a guy, he's doing 20 mil a month. He was in his 50s. Dude just hit a market that was like he was in the waste management market. And he just got a Rolodex of everything. And basically all these huge companies came to him. He was the middleman between like trash pickup and big companies. And so he was just scraping off the top and making belligerent amounts of money. He paid me 10 grand. I talked to him twice. And what I told him in 2 very nonchalant sessions, he's like, what you just told me. He's like, in the first session, he goes, I just made my money back. I talked to him for like 40 minutes casually with just like this, no screen, like nothing. I didn't show him anything. But he was at a different level. So like he heard something and it was like, oh, that little piece of information will make me an extra 100 grand a month. I haven't spoke to him since that time. Now he can call me whenever he wants. That's the option you get at 9,800, right? I've talked to him 2 or 3 times, and I talked to he had a little marketing team. I talked to his marketing team one time. These are just phone calls at this point. And the marketing team's like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Appreciate that. We'll put that into the team. And it was so simple, so easy. So what I'm trying to get at is when you start selling your thing, okay, what I'm doing right now with like Make Once Pro, it's a hard sell. It's really hard because it's like 1,800 a year, 149 a month. It's like $1,700 or whatever a year, or I'll give them the 997 lifetime, right? It's a pretty difficult sale actually, because most of the people at that level, that's a lot of money that they have not, it's not a lot of money to them. It's a lot of money out of what they have left to invest in some dream. And they've already got this thing going. They probably already have the golden handcuffs on. If you know what I'm talking about, corporate, the golden handcuffs. It's like you make enough of your salary just a little bit, and they give you just a little bit more to just keep kind of up in your lifestyle. And your lifestyle just eats you, and you never, you're just stuck there. They give you great insurance, great medical, you're just locked in, right? And then you have a family and you're locked in because they're paying the kids' insurance. It's a lock in, which is fine, whatever. Those are the benefits of working for somebody. Me, I'm like, I'll work 80 hours so I don't have to work that life, and I'll just make abundance so that I can just buy whatever insurance, like it's just a different thinking. Okay. When you go to sell your stuff, it's getting better though on the lower ticket side of things because everything is becoming so like, Netflix, $22 a month, the car wash that you drive through, $40 a month. You know, all this, like you can get all these little memberships, you know, for these things, and people are just getting used to that. So it's going to get even better as the years go on. But when you're first starting and you want to stabilize, you want to work with the person that you can get the quickest results for. And you want to work with the person that is going to get the most impact out of the most minimal of your experience of what you're teaching. Like for instance, like your gal that is already at a salon. She's been there for a year and 8 months. She has her own small little book of business of people that she spray tans regularly. They kind of know her there. Um, you know, that's what she does, right? That's her 6 days a week or whatever, you know, maybe more sometimes. Sometimes she'll go in, you know, whatever, if I have an appointment. That girl has figured out a lifestyle in that year and 8 months, let's say, that she's okay, but she's like, this ain't gonna do it long term. Okay. And if she's a gal that's like not waiting for Mr. Right to come take care of everything, she's, you know, like Michelle, she if she's got to work, she's that person. Like she couldn't not, like she's got to make her own, do her own. She's just that person. She's that, you know what I mean? Like she would go crazy otherwise. She loves working. It's not work, you know, it's just like, this is fun. You know, same with me. I'm having just as much fun here as I would down on the beach. Like I'd probably be more fun here because I'm like building something, progressing. Like I love it. Like, don't get me wrong, but you know, once you've seen it for a few hours, it's like, okay. But you know, for me, it's like, you got to understand that about your people. Go serve that person first. That's where the money's made. And then you can work on solving these other problems like this, right? They make the buying decision. They are gladly willing to pay hundreds to help their kids get better. Go D1. Oh yeah, dude, the amount of money that we've spent for Lena to run D1, like it's insane. Like, because we don't miss anything. We're flying everywhere. Shoes whenever, whatever's needed, supplements, what, you know, whatever. It's like you're 100% aiming at us. You know what I'm saying?
I'm super excited about that because I mean, even just locally here where we live, running is such a undertapped play market because everyone wants to become a professional football player or a basketball player, and you see the parents just dishing money there, and the chance of them becoming a professional basketball player or whatever is really slim because of the coaches aren't even on that level. But on the flip side, we have a coach who's literally semi-professional, who's done the thing, who's walked the talk, and like can actually get them there. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it unfolds. But one of the questions I quickly want to ask you about that is, I do always still want to have like an offer that the kids can make a buying decision on because we're looking to have some of the kids that are on our team. They're really big into Strava and incentivizing them to like get 3 members so that their membership is paid for. But I mean, on the parent side, it's super interesting too, because you could charge $150 a month and they will get, you know, unlimited access to the coaches or multiple calls or however we decide to incentivize them. And that's what the best athletes in Sacramento are doing. They have additional coaches that teach at UC Davis or Sacramento State that have credentials that the coach at the high school doesn't have, and they're paying for additional coaching on the side. So I know that
Oh,
there's a model there for sure.
when Landon was going to high school and running, his high school coaches were just basically just somebody volunteering pretty much. So we were paying 600 a month to a professional runner that was training him on the side, right? And then and he there's kids that were even crazier than him that were paying a nutritionist. They were paying like aesthetics coaches. They were this one kid was I would assume 3 to 5 grand a month. His parents were paying just to get him into college level. And then once they're in college level, it's like Landon's got a runner that he runs with at school that lives in Spain, And I think we're going to send him, and he's got this crazy running coach in Spain. It's high altitude running, it's all this stuff. And I mean, we're going to send him there for like probably a month. That's going to be 10, 15 grand probably to send
For
him there,
sure.
maybe more. By the time you fly his ass there, feed him the whole time, he's going to be in Spain with his buddy. They're going to do shit, whatever. It's going to be, it's expensive to do that. And it's like, if you, but see, you have to talk to me and
Right.
like,
That's the
like,
big difference.
yeah, you have to speak like that. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that we're thinking about, it's like, well, does that work? I mean, those leg compression things are like, what, a couple grand, like, it's, you have to just speak to that because we're not looking for a deal. We're looking for what works, right? The money isn't the factor. It's, does that shit work or not? Like when we're looking at things to do, and I'm not being like braggy, but like if it's like cheap, it's like last night we went out to eat. If it's like under $500, I'm like, shit, that was cheap. Like it's just, like it's just your standards change, and but those are the people that you're paying attention to. And we're nobody. We're nothing. You know what I mean? Like we're nothing in the grand scheme of like people. I mean, we certainly make a lot, but it's not like there's people out there that make what we make in a year in a fucking week. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I personally know people that are making 3, 4 million a week, like, and they're doing the same shit. They're just different teams, different 3, 4 million. The guy that I just got done coaching with, they do like 100 a month. Like it's hard to, I don't want all what he's got to do to get that, but it's just you get, I think, you go into different levels. I mean, maybe someday, I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of Heather, you're speaking to that girl. And you think about like what would, when you were in that place, what would you have had to hear? What's up, Bajan? What would you have had to hear? What would you have had to see? What would you have had to have laid out for you? Because in that moment, you're anxious, right? You're like, and most of these, I would assume they're in their mid to late 20s or something like that, or who knows, but the majority of the
Mm-hmm.
person, yeah. And so, everything's kind of tight, everything's kind of anxious. You're barely out of the house, you're 5 years into being out in the world doing things, and you're trying to like prove to your parents and yourself that you can do this, and you're trying to, do all these things. And it's like, so they need that big sister. They need that person that's like, listen, I got you. I get it. I know. Been there.
Mm-hmm.
You just speak like that when you're out there. That's how you speak. When you're in your TikToks, it's like you're like this. You have the blinders on, you don't see nobody else. You see that younger you, and you think about the tensions and the anxieties that you have. You're not big
Mm-hmm.
business. You can be this. I mean, you can be like this. I mean, I'm in, like, you guys know where I'm at. Like, you get where I'm at. Like, I'm setting in a Airbnb, like on a makeshift desk, and you can make 7 figs doing this. Like,
Totally.
and I'm complete. If my life didn't change till the day I died, I'm fucking stoked. Like, if this was the rest of my life, where do I sign? It doesn't need to get any more or less. Like, I mean, you know, the car
Mhm.
doesn't drive much nicer than this. You know, it's like the views don't get
Mhm.
much more than like what else are you gonna go look at? We were
Mhm.
talking about that. I'm like, what do you get like higher up? Like, I mean, what I you know, it's like it doesn't the food doesn't get it doesn't taste much better at the, you know,
Mhm.
like so it's like you can people are like scale and bigger and I'm like, you know, and then they'll watch like the Hermosis. They just have a different appetite. You know, they just want to do that. That's fine. You know,
Mhm.
I that's fine. But there comes a time where it's like hone in and find that like place that's really good, right? It's not always about having the heaviest trophy and the biggest numbers to show on the screen. Like that's not what it's about. It's about, for me, more than anything, it's about Bajan hitting 50 grand a month. It's about you hitting 50 grand a month. Because if I can get you there, you figure out the rest. It's just doing more of what you did.
Mhm.
You know, if I can get you to ultimately, like I want to help 1,000 if before I'm dead, I want to help 1,000 people make $1 million in this type of business. That's my goal. If I hit
Mhm.
that faster, great. If in a year or two from now I want to go big or something, then whatever. I mean, I'm happy, you know? Um, there's nothing wrong with being happy.
Hey, Mike, can
Yeah.
I share an idea I had for Heather?
Mm, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Please.
I I was like you, Mike. I really like the mobile idea, the idea of having something mobile.
Mm,
And I was thinking of a I hope it's the same word in English, a franchise, like the
mm.
McDonald's. There
Yeah,
are
franchise.
franchise
Yep.
people, yeah, franchise. And I thought, you could have franchise at different
Hey,
levels.
Marie,
Yes.
her babies are waking up, so just one
Okay.
hold your thought. We'll put
Okay.
it on pause until she gets back. But go ahead, Marie. You can talk to us and Bajan. We'll talk till she gets back. Whatever.
Okay. I was just thinking she could have a different level of franchise, like a mobile one
Mm,
and a building one. And a mobile one could be, there's a really um, big trend of the van life.
mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you could have some van organized as a small unit
Mm-hmm.
to have a business inside.
Mm-hmm.
And for young people like 25, 30 years old,
Mm-hmm.
they could combine the van life and the business life at the same time. So
Yeah, no, I mean, you're totally right with that, Marie. Like, there's a lot of little options that you can formulate from it. I mean, what's important, and you're totally right about that. You know, when you said that right away, I was like, shit, at some point you could have like you could make a deal with somebody. Like, for instance, yesterday we went on a boating thing, like they take you out and drive you around the island and shit like that. I was talking to the captain of the boat, okay? And he goes, yeah, the he basically it's kind of almost like working at a salon. He rents the boat from the guy. The guy owns the boat because the boats are like, these sea boats that they take you out on that can hold, let's see, there was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. There's 12 people on this boat, right? A 12-person sea boat is $1 million for not even a brand new one, right? Because these are tough boats. The guy that was captain, he can't afford that boat, but some rich dude does. And he goes, yeah, this guy buys these boats, has them sent over to some place, and he designed the boats to have like two people can sit on both sides all the way back, and it's like hardcore metal. And he designs these boats. And then these boats are designed specifically for chartering type companies like we were on.
mm,
And he basically sells these boats, and
Yeah.
people can basically slap their name on it and take people on charters, right? So like for the Heather thing, it could be like, here's your mobile spray tan. You can buy this
Van.
mobile, yeah.
Yeah, you
Yes.
could have what I was saying, Heather, is a different level of franchise, and for the very
Mm.
young people, it could be like the van life, some van completely equipped to do your
Yes.
business, and
Mhm.
you know they could go to the beaches in summer, and then I don't know, in the mountains in the winter, and the young people could mix the van life with some van business
Mm.
Mhm.
with typically your kind of business, and then you could sell the training, but also you could sell, even you can rent the vans, or you could sell the vans. You know, you could really have multiple source of income, not only for the training, but also for the material, or the buildings or the vans. A little bit like McDonald's. Today, McDonald's, they make more money from the buildings that from training the managers to sell hamburgers.
Yeah, McDonald's is a real estate business now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you could just, vary your source of income, and have different ways to make business.
Yeah,
Just
no,
an idea.
Cool.
it is true. Like you could have, and the way I think about it in the beginning is, Heather, you could go, you're just the hot seat. Anybody can think for their own thing through what we're talking to you about. But like, for instance, you could take and figure out, okay, here's the supplies you need to run the business, period. Here's the checklist. When you get started with me, you get this checklist. I've got a relationship with these vendors. If you go through me, you're going to get a discount on the tools, all the supplies, everything that you need. So it's like a business in a box kind of thing when they get started with you. And so they get,
Mhm.
it's like they buy your thing that comes with the training. Then you're going to get an affiliate from all the vendors you work with, plus you get a discount. So they're going to get a better deal going through you than they would out on their own. And then you're also giving the vendors business. So, and it's in higher volume. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. But when they get started, they don't have to go searching for all the stuff that they need. It's like, that anxiety's gone. Plus, now I know how to structure this thing and do this thing. And I have somebody that I can lean on a couple times a week, or even daily in the beginning if you want, where they can be asking questions. They can say, oh my God, like I didn't even know this. What did you do when this happened? There's that stuff happening, right? And so that's the way I see it in the beginning. And then if you wanted to take it even, it just essentially it's adding more. You're anytime that you're taking more of the what do you do about this away from the situation, you're going to earn more and you have
Mhm.
more value in the marketplace. So if you think about it, and then, yeah, you can appeal to these different markets. But I think in the very beginning, the smartest thing to do is focus on who you were when you were in that moment of frustration. And you were like, okay. And you called your dad, and your dad's like, wait a minute, I'm looking at the numbers here. Why don't you just do this yourself? But then in that moment, I don't think there was this idea of so much mobile, right? Whereas now it's like
Mhm.
mobile haircuts, mobile this, mobile that, mobile this. You know, I think you can structure and just focus on that one thing for a full 12 months. Do not divert your attention. Don't, when you're completely off of schedule, meaning you've done your daily income earning activities, you've got your blueprint in place, you've got your community running on all cylinders, you've got your schedule dialed down to like the hour, and you've got all that dialed in, and you know how you're taking care of the ins and outs with the money. You know how to handle your customers. When you have it like that, and it's like you are doing it very, very clean and repetitious, like it's operating, right?
Hmm.
When you have all of those things done in your day and you've got that sorted out, then it's like, what's the other? Because in the customers, it goes like this, right? Like with anything, it doesn't matter what it is. Okay, it looks like this, right? It's like your primary person is this is the you from back then, right? So this is this customer we've been talking about this whole time. This customer to me, what it looks like to me is, I would say, um, this is where I see it. Like it can be like 97 a month, or because they can swing that. That's energy drink money per month. Okay, so when I think about this, I'm like, listen, drink coffee instead of Celsius and pay me instead with pure confidence, and we'll knock this next thing out. Or it's either this much a month, or they could do like this per year, right? Or like 99 a month and then this per year. They could do one or the other, or not even per year. This could be one time. Okay, here, let me get this out of here. Okay, so or they can pay, because this will, this catapults you quickly right here. And they can pay for this crap. Just like maybe your dad helped you out in that moment when you were like, all right, I'm heading out on the streets. Dad's like, I want her to do good. Here's what you need to get going, right? So they're in that same sort of boat. And this can get this is swingable. So, but from here, then if you go north of this person, then you're talking about that person that's already got like maybe a physical location, and they're tired of that. And maybe they're like, I want to, and I don't know what their situation is. Maybe who knows what their situation is. I don't know. I'm not going to probably nail this person properly, but let's say they have a physical location already. And with their physical location, with all bills paid and everything, let's say they're doing like this much per year after it's all said and done, everything. Okay. And they're like, I can do more than that. They just have that insight, like I can do more, right? And so maybe this person, you're showing them how they can either take what they're doing and mobilize it, almost in the sense where we were talking, like what Marie was saying, where you could show them how they could take and create their own army of mobile people going out there. Instead of having like the physical location, you could teach them how to have 5 mobile locations going, and they could be, and it takes them to that next level, right? Like, so they go from maybe here to here, right? And then after all of it's said and done, they're taken home like this. And it's a 5x jump from where they were. Okay. So you have that person that you can talk to. And then on this person, they're willing to maybe pay you this, and maybe you work a little bit closer with them, and maybe you only work with like 100 people a year on this, and that's pretty good, right? So then you have this person down here, where if you even want to go here, because that's going to be the hardest one down below. Bye, I love you. What time we leaving? 4. This person down here, it's like maybe you're like, I don't know, like this, or they can, pay like, I don't know, like, maybe like $3.99 or something total. Okay. If you even want to go there, but this at volume is crazy. You get 5,000 people paying $39 a month. That's nothing to shake a stick at either, right? That's $2 million a year. So but this person here is the most likely candidate that you can help the fastest, that you can put something together. And this is for anybody, right? And then there's always this level, even up here. Now you're like, here's how to buy salons and, like it just keeps there's somebody out there, or here's how to start your own school, like it just, there's all kinds of levels, right? Like, so anyhow, what I say is find that place that you're the most valuable and go there, right? So that's where you want to be first and foremost. It's like, who's the person that is dealing with the most pain, like you were, right? That you can help without a shadow of a doubt. You can go help this person, right? Like, I know who I can help the quickest, yeah, I got you. So it's like, and I think about this for you too, Marie, or like Sahil. It's like, when I think of you, Sahil, with your thing, I'm thinking that transition from college to, or sorry, I'm thinking of that transition from high school to college with a serious athlete, that wants to go play school and has the dream of going semi or pro, right? That to me is the person that you're most likely to help. That's gonna, I think you can help that person the best. Between the vendors, between the training, the nutrition, the coaching, I know Landon for a fact would plug into something like that if he knew himself, because he's very, these athletes that get themselves into these positions, they're no dummies either. Like they know what they need and want. Like they know the difference. In most cases, they know that they need more, or that what is more, because they're just in that click, and they know, like, they'll talk to the winners of the race and they'll be like, oh yeah, well, I'm doing this and this. And then after the race, they're like coming to us saying, oh yeah, well, yeah, of course he's good. He's got a freaking nutritionist. He's got a private coach. He's got this, that's what they say. That's what was being said. That's when we started looking into the next level. It was like, oh, and then when, they're serious about that, the money's not an object. It's like, okay, right? So I think that's who you're helping and talking to the most, in my opinion. For this first level, till you secure that foundation of that level, right? Like me, I talk to the beginner, but I'm typically talking to somebody like a Heather or a you, like, or a Marie, like somebody that has tried other things, it didn't work. You've tried doing stuff before, it didn't work. You've got some money that you can spend to get this thing moving. But the biggest hindrance that I'm having to work most of my ideal customer through is they can't get past that level of like oomph. It's a oomph thing. And they just need that clarity, because the clarity gives the confidence, right? Like if you can see the steps and you have the clarity on the path and the mission and the stepping stones and the notches that you need, the code you need to put in, and I can get you motivated enough to go do it, and you experience a little bit of the clutch, then it's like, okay, then it's like, let's get you there. And the biggest thing that I have to help people with is these things right here. I mean, this is why I keep doing this like repeatedly, and I try to move away from it, and it's like it always comes to right here. My person has the problem with these things right here. They don't know how to lay this out, because this is everything. The thing that makes this whole entire thing work is this right here. The moment you have this, you have this, you have this, you have everything. So it's like getting somebody to lay this out is the biggest thing, helping them through that. I know that I can help that person.
Yeah,
So-
that makes sense. I'll just quickly say the lever that I think would use the most in terms of attracting people is trying to figure out the core messaging here. But if you went to specifically one of these coaches one-on-one, they could charge you $150, $250, but for the school group that we're creating, you get access to all these coaches for a fraction of the price that it would cost you to go to one of them one-on-one.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm trying to drive home, because these kids up front aren't going to see the value until you kind of really dig into them of what they're going to be getting and how it's valuable to them, because they don't really have a sense of like, if I went to them one-on-one, what would that even cost you?
Right. Well, and that's where you just take, well, I mean, for instance, with like Landon, it was 600 a month, and he knows that now, to have a personal coach that they text back and forth. He's coming to some of the local closer meets. He's, going and doing workouts with him, and the guy's helping him with his sleep and nutrition and things like that. It's, it's $500 to $1,000 a month for somebody like that. You know what I mean? If you can, that's so in the content, in the did you know content, this is where you're really talking to them. In the A versus B, the how to, this is where you're really talking to them. It's like, guys, look at the value here. You're laying apples to apples right beside you, saying, listen, you're getting all of this in one place, plus a voice in the community to communicate with other people going through the same mission with you. And you guys can learn from each other in accelerated rates. Look at Mr. Beast. He said the only reason we got so good so fast is he goes, we were spending 10, 15 hours a day talking about content and creating videos, making the best video. What's the best video? He goes, because I had that. He goes, if I wouldn't have been in that, I wouldn't have grown this fast. But he goes, we were all trying to do the same thing together. And so we all were able to get together on Zoom or Skype or whatever every day. And it's like, what's working for you? What's working for you? What's working for you? What's working for you? And that's where they kept just bouncing up these levels. And it's stories like that that you're sharing. That's the content that you're doing, right? It's like, and then you're talking to the parents too, but you're not talking to the parents in a way where, I mean, you could be, depending on how you're, it's not like I'm not seeing running stuff at all, right? And Michelle's not either, right? But you're talking to the kids, but you're talking to the parents through the kids. Like you're basically saying, like, think about your parents. They want you to do well, but how are they going to make all this stuff happen? Well, that's why we've created this community for you. And maybe it's you taking care of yourself, but most of you, you're probably still, you've got to talk to them in that reality, in that zone, and say, listen, we'll talk to your parents. Look, every Thursday we have a parents call. Parents can get on and hear what this is about and what it's for. And, we have a parent special every week. We'll take on 10 new athletes, into the community at a certain rate, like maybe you work something out like that where it's like, get your parents on, let them listen to this. And you have it like set up to communicate to the parents, right? And these high school kids can then know how to communicate to their parents about it, because some parents may not even be that supportive, but they kind of do, but they just know it's expensive. So it's just not even thought about. But now that they can pay $99 a month to the community, and our son or our daughter now has an outlet to get what they want or need, now I feel better as a parent. And I know that they're getting more than what they would have got. They're getting better. This stuff matters, right? Like, think about it. Like, guys, it's a pair of shoes a month, think about it. Like, how can you make it in terms of what they're paying for already?
Literally, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think I might have told you this already, but he gets access to 50 pounds of free gear a month. So the giveaways and the merit-based giveaways of whoever, improved the most this month gets entered into this merit-based raffle. So that way it's an even playing field. But I mean, that goes into my messaging a lot too, of like, hey, we do monthly giveaways for our community as well. So you get access to everything, plus you get entered into these giveaways where we'll ship you out your favorite shoes.
Yeah. And I mean, inside of your community, in the classroom, like when I'm thinking about the classroom in here, if you're talking to, if you're doing content in the classroom, I'm wanting to see stuff where it's like, when they look in here,
Yeah,
they're seeing like the word Hoka, they're seeing New Balance, they're seeing like those brands
Mhm.
that when they see that, they have to look.
Right.
They're like, oh, wait, he's got the logo from the shoe that I wear. Like he's got in the classroom, these little windows here are very powerful when you're doing content, because when you're doing the demo, they see this stuff, man. Like they see this and they're going, whoa, right? Like, oh, he's got a whole classroom, named Hoka, and inside it could just be talking about the sponsorship. It could be talking about the top shoes that you're looking at. It could be, I'm looking at this, pulling it up. It could
Were you
be,
able to open it?
I'm opening it right now.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. But see, I think what I see in here, this is good for sure. I mean, it's indicating running right away. But like, oh yeah, let me share this so you can,
Yeah, I see where you're going with it. Thing
put
is
those,
to go ahead.
just put those brands in there. Like you could have one that is like, like put like the Hoka, you could put all the top brands in there and then do some content in there. Meaning, how do you think about shoes, or what the top
Mhm.
running shoes for these brands, or the top clothing for the top, well, all the accessories, all the everything,
Right.
because you got to get them in there. Once, if you know for a fact, once they're in there, the value that they're going to get is going to be way more than what they invested, whether it's time or money, then you need to do everything in your power to get them in there on things, because you're going to do more good this way. So it's like, these are great, but I think you need to go even more. Like, what's where's this app that you said they're all on? Why are we
Mhm.
not seeing that logo in there, right? Because they're going to see that, this Strava, and they're going to be like, oh wait, this is my place, this is my home in here.
Mhm. I see
I
what you're
feel,
saying.
and they're going to associate you with those brands.
Yeah, that's such a great point. I've been thinking about that, but more so in the content that we're going to be putting out online. We have a meet that we're going up to because we still have two athletes who are in season. It's in season, but they're doing an extra race because they want to get a feel for what college is like. So
Mm,
we're going to be going up to Portland next month to film some stuff as well as their racing. And I'm going to get one of those mics that have like the flag on it, and I'm gonna
mm,
put the little logo on
mm,
it, so that way I can go interview the winners of the races
mm,
and kind of get that going, because
mm.
that's kind of where we need to be at, is interviewing the top runners, ask them
Yes,
questions, and
yes.
then there's not that much competition in that realm. So if we can start getting in those races and talking to people, the word of mouth spreads really quickly.
Think of associations. Like, that's like, how can we associate ourselves with these things? If we can't, you could do, if you want to associate yourself with Strava, why don't you do a classroom in here, all the benefits of Strava, and then the banner is this, and then all the ways to, here, one of the modules inside, all the ways to use this, ways not to use this, why runners love this, and then get all the apps that these people, when they see it, they have to go look regardless, just because it's the association with it.
Mhm.
Hoka, like all the gear in here, like that I'm doing, I'm gonna have, like, you seen in here, right, where I've got this, right, where it's like, wait, yeah, no, it's this one. Yeah. So in here, right? And this is,
Mhm.
I'm not just doing this out of pure psychological, but,
Value stack.
well, no, I'm gonna have like the Zoom logos. I'm gonna have Chat GPT logos,
I
Loom,
see.
Miro, CapCut, all the things, Skool, all the things that I use, all the things that are part of my thing are going to be present in there, so that when they see this stuff, they cannot not go there and look. Like, it's like they have to look. They got to do it.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from.
It's like
And
being a, it's like the associations, right? Like when you see these big stars and they're like, it's like The Rock, his association, it's like they associate who The Rock is now with that Terramana tequila, right? It's like some people just drink it because The Rock drinks it. You know what I mean?
Snoop Dogg, like he's everywhere.
Yeah, it's just that it's
Boom, boom,
that
boom, 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 boom.
associations. Like, what are you associating with?
Yeah, I definitely hear you. And we have I mean, I can definitely start working on that. And
Especially at
since,
that level of psychological development. Like, they're not looking into the fine details. They're like looking at pictures in a magazine, like, you know what I mean? Like
mm,
it's quick. It's like, oh
scrolling,
yeah, he got this. You know, like all the major running events, like the Nike, what's that Nike one? The
cross nationals,
yeah,
that's
you
one
know,
of
where
them.
they've got the spikes or whatever as the
Right.
that stuff. Why is that not? You should have a classroom that's all Nike national stuff. You should have, and it's like where all the just put in there the dates for the stuff that's coming, because when you show that back office in there, that classroom in your content and in your lives and in things, they're associating you with that.
I like that because we do have plans of this year going to some big meets. So I'm gonna definitely start putting that in there. Like even the names, like the associations, like you said, like, oh, this Woodbridge race, it's super exciting because it's the fastest race in California.
If you guys see, you know, we're gonna have our own tent there. We're calling all these different races, and we're gonna find out we're gonna have a tent there. Come over there. We'd love to interview you. We'll put you inside of the classroom.
Yeah.
Don't forget, it should be reminders in all your content. Hey guys, just letting you guys know we're gonna be at XYZ these meets. Come over to our tent. Look for this logo right here. If you want our schedule, join our free community. Go in the classroom. We've got the Nike National schedule here. We've got this schedule here. Here's the brand, you know, we've got blah, 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 blah. You should have a weekly workshop in your community. One's for kids, one's for the parents.
It's crazy to me that this is all coming together because I feel like with school and like having a coach, mentor, and everything, it's like really, it's we're gonna like crush everybody. And it's like people right now who are just doing it badly are taking the steps forward, but they're not that good compared to what we could produce because of like everything that we're talking about here, as well as like with Coach Boyle or the coach he's actually coming here in 10 minutes. He has, as part of his ambassadorship with Hoka, he can host Hoka events. So it'd be Just Run, X, and then Hoka. And he's able to get them to come and do a pop-up shop where they have like 50 or do 100 shoes that the runners can try on and test and do, run outs, check it out kind of thing. And they have, free gear that they're giving away to incentivize those people. So that's something that I've been thinking about for about in August, doing
You know, like
a
Nike
mile time
Nationals
trial.
has a different hoodie every year, or I mean, a
Right.
different stocking cap every year. What
Backpacks.
backpack? You should go to Amazon because you can drop ship the whole thing. You have your logo, just like I do these hats, right? Like I can send this hat to anybody right now. I don't have to stock them. It's $30. It's at your door in a couple weeks. I'm just saying, all of you should have giveaways every week on that. Um, whoever shows up to the weekly workshop, your name goes in a raffle. We pull the raffle at the end of the workshop, and we're sending you a backpack, a water bottle, of this, or that, or whatever. It starts training them to show up where they start to learn about your other stuff. They get better. They become a community. It becomes a brand. It becomes their thing. And then, you're also at the same time, it's like, get them on a schedule. Humans are so patternistic, right? It's like Sunday night football, like get these patterns established. You know, parents night is every Thursday from 30 minutes, because it's fast. Like parents, it's like in out. Hey guys, we're just going to share with you what we got here. If you want to bring in, let your child join or whatever, just letting you know what we got, what we're doing. You've got
Hmm.
all these things. You make them a deal every week. It's just for parents. It's the parents deal every
Right.
week for 10 people to join the community. Okay. Um, just things like that, right? It's like everything that you're doing is in in service of this industry, this community. How do you associate yourself? The whole everything. Yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
custom media badge I made like 4 years ago,
Hell yeah.
just for fun, just to have it, just in case I go to a meet and someone has it, it's association. As well as
Yes.
I wanted to show you guys my backpack real quick. It's
Yeah,
for my
yeah.
camera gear, but
Yeah, dude. 100%. I love it. I love that. That's a not, yeah.
Got all my camera gear that I take to the meets as well. And it's like a really crisp logo. There's no like wear and tear. It's
Yeah.
really well etched on there.
Yeah, dude. And I would have somewhere even on there where it's like the name too, so we can like see it and actually Google it. Cause are they gonna know what to Google when they see that, at random?
Right.
You need to have like something where like when they see it, they know what to Google. Cause that when looking at that, I don't know what to Google.
Right. When it comes to coaches and taxes in regards to Skool, what are your overall thoughts or guidelines when it comes to something like that? Because we do have to factor in at a certain point, we have to give these coaches forms for their taxes as well.
Just 1099 them.
Just 1099.
They're
Okay.
they're just contractors.
Got it. At any rate, at any
It
given
doesn't
point.
matter. Yeah, it's no different. I mean, to give you an idea of like the scope it can run into, like Michelle, her dad owned a flooring store, right? These flooring installers, they would pull sometimes 5, 6, 10 grand a week, and they were just contractors. They just build them as contractors. So it was 1099. At the end of the year, here's all the money we paid you.
Got it. Yeah, that was one of the main questions that
And the
we did
best way to
have.
go about that, dude, just get it you can go on anymore. You just get a standard CPA
Right.
and just ask them, hey, here's what these coaches are doing. Here's what we're paying them. Here's the situation. What's the best way to set them up? I'm not a freaking lawyer, so
Mhm.
make sure you go that route. But I mean, from experience and just that story, that was something we were able to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, coach is coming right now, so we're going to be discussing a lot of these different topics. And that was one of the questions he did have of like, yo, we got to figure out taxes from the beginning because
Yep.
we're scaling this up. Yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes.
And LegalZoom has like by the hour CPAs you can talk to, legalzoom.com. You
Right.
can literally get on and talk to, if you just look up by the hour CPA or by the hour legal accountant, by the hour accounting, anything like that into Google, um you're gonna find what you need there. And just talk to them, pay a couple $100, talk to them for an hour or two, and that problem's fixed.
Yeah, and I mean the big play here, like long term in the next like year or two, is to definitely build this out. And I do the content management stuff for the pro gamers, and I want both of those to be flowing so that way I can brand myself as, oh, I have content management I do for gamers. I have a school for that if you want to learn more. I also, been running for 10 years. I have a school for that as well. So getting both of those going, and the running is year long, which is great, but the other side of things for the gaming side, it's seasonally because of Madden, how it launches and stuff like that. So kind of waiting for that. But once August comes around or even July, things are really going to be moving for both.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. I think you're running in the right direction, no pun intended. But I think there's so many affiliate options with the running. And trust me, there was this um, dental company, or this dentist. He built up such a huge community on Facebook or whatever it was for dentists. You had to get into the Facebook group, you had to prove that you were a practicing dentist. And it became so regarded because it was just practicing dentists in there, and they were all verified dentists. But it became such a powerful thing that they literally made it part of a college curriculum, that you were supposed to join this dental thing. And like, so I'm saying you get enough going in there. I mean, applications are gonna, these running apps, shit, Strava might come to you and be like, how much is it for us to be able to have you pin a post to the top of your community? That could pay freaking 100 grand a month. Just the sponsor, you can pin 3 posts. You could have 3 pins at the top of these huge apps or brands that are paying you. You know, if you have, 10, 20, 30, 50,000 runners in there, and they can you can pin a post to the top for X
Mhm.
amount of dollars, and it's pinned up there for a month, and it's got their QR code in it, or it's got their discount in it, and they sell $1 million worth of sneakers or whatever it is, downloads, that's serious money for you in that community. That's why it's so important for you to start, really associating yourself with everything involved there. And then you can sell out those top 10 or those top 3 pinned posts up at the top. Shit, there might be places where you're selling real estate on your little banner picture for your school. There could be real estate where they're the
crazy.
top classroom in the classroom when they come in there. It's the first one they see. That stuff's all real estate that will be sold. Community is the most powerful thing you can have, man.
And for the longest time, I mean, when I first started, running was not cool, but now it's like
It's
everybody wants
picking
to
up for sure.
everybody wants to run a half marathon or run a 5K or even just be branded as a runner because it's either you're having at my age in this cohort, either you're having kids or you're running a half marathon. There's no in between.
Yeah.
That everyone has that meme that's going on right now. So
Yeah. It's
so
dude, I
big.
mean, you have a lot of real estate you can sell in there if you can get that thing packed full of like the perfect people.
Yeah, and we have access to these other coaches that run for Hoka, professional mountain runners that have like 200,000 followers. Coach, we really just got to put a compelling offer in place of how we can do a collaboration with them. And funny enough, like the coach who we're bringing on, she lives in Colorado, the nutritionist. She's actually going to be here in NorCal next at the end of next month for a race. So we'll meet her in Placerville, which would be a really great content opportunity for us to sit down and meet in person as well as do content. And I feel like she could be a long-term partner, which is great to have because I think finding those long-term players early is really what I want to find because then you can invest all your, energy into them because some of the coaches right now I'm a little bit hesitant on because I'm not sure because we're doing a 1 month trial period where we pay them a certain amount. They have certain deliverables, aka like 4 videos that they're going to do once a week in the live for a live call, as well as 4 pieces of content about topics that our runners want to learn about. But I have to figure out who wants to renew after a month. And it's kind of tough right now because we're just launching to incentivize them because they have their hourly rates and we're trying to have a bundle or like a deal. So
And
obviously
I
down the
think
road, we'll be able to afford them more.
yeah, it's like once a week or maybe, you have like nutrition Tuesdays and like you bring in a new nutritionist every Tuesday that's related to the industry or to sports. Wednesday is like workout Wednesday. You have a different workout professional come in or they can share their workouts patterns, man. Get people on these patterns because if they can, because then you're also showing opportunity for people to come. Oh man, you have a workout Wednesday call that you do workshop. Yeah. Hey, listen, we've got packages of workouts that we sell, or we do this, we do that. You always have something that you can attract people that are going to benefit from being on your workshop, right? And then you cut a deal with them. You have this partner deal. Your workshops could be paying you 50 grand a week, 10 grand a workshop because so and so comes in and sells, $20,000 worth of whatever, and you get half because you staged the platform.
Well, yeah, we're quickly headed that direction. I've been doing research on different school groups to see what their offers are. And a lot of them, I mean, there's only a
Just
handful
make
that
your
I've
own.
seen.
It's
Right.
very simple. It's percentages and that's it. And it's like, it's just numbers of percentages. Like whatever they sell for, you know, it's essentially it's like this. Would you be able to get in front of this many targeted audience without showing up to this workshop and getting, basically built up by us? Yes or no? No. Okay. You're selling something for $100. Cool. We get $40 out of the 100. You get to keep 60 and you have a lifetime customer, hopefully, if you do a good, that's the conversation. It's nothing more than that. It's very simple. Keep it that clean. It's a split. That's it. And then, or in the beginning too, hey, we had so and so runner come in and shit. One thing that I know is so critical is like, I'm always like asking Landon, like he'll talk to me about these people that are breaking these records, running this crazy stuff. I'm like, well, what are they doing? Like, what's their workout? Oh, they will never share that. And maybe I'm sure that's the case. But how can you get these people to come in and share their workouts? Workout Wednesday, how to sleep better, how to nutrition, how to injuries, how to, work with those, and just everything. These colleges would be coming in and probably scouting out of your ring.
Well,
In the leaderboard, how do
Mhm.
you use the leaderboard to unlock the gift bag? How do you, when somebody gets to level 6, they get your bag? Well, what are they going to have to do to get to level 6? Well, they're going to have to be engaging in the community. Every time they show up to the weekly workshop, you're taking inventory on who is all there. Whoever shows up to
merit.
X amount in a row, they get yanked, like whatever.
Yeah, one of the other niches that we have in mind too, it's like organizations, after school organizations, or just organizations in general, because they have groups of runners, but maybe they don't have the infrastructure to coach them and get all their services needs and met. So that could be a higher ticket offer of $1,000 or $1,500 a month, where we send them a Stripe link and say, hey, we'll take care of XYZ thing. We know you're based out of Kentucky or somewhere that we can't reach you, but here's what you'll get if you hop into our program, and we'll make sure you guys are taken care of.
We had a guy in here that he used to actually do some work with me, that Brett. I don't know if you remember Brett.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. What he was really good at, all his kids like went to college for sports, but he was really good on how to get them into the college they wanted to get into. And there's these people out there that,
Oh, I know. Yeah, I see Brett.
yeah, you could reach out to him. I mean, I haven't heard from him in a while. His daughter got picked up. She's a lacrosse athlete. She got picked up by Nike. So ever since that happened, I think they got a bunch of money or whatever. And
NIL deals, because now you
yeah,
can pay
and
your athletes through
yeah, and
college.
yeah. So I think he's like managing her now personally. Like, I don't know but what I'm saying is there's a lot of people. We have another gal in the group too. She does that too. She gets these athletes into colleges that they want to get into. And it starts at like young, but if you could get somebody in there like that.
I'll be right back.
Marie, you eating this up?
I'm still here.
We got our other call here in about 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, but it's 30 to 1 a.m. here.
Wow.
So I'm not sure I will.
Yeah, no, I think you need to get some rest. But yeah, no, man. I mean, I just see so many affiliate opportunities. I see so many like associations that you can do. I would
Mike,
just,
this is Coach Boyle. This is Swarnji. He's my co-founder of Skool.
what's up, man?
Nice to meet you, brother. I heard great things about you.
Thanks. Cool. Yeah, he's been talking about you a lot too.
Mike's in Hawaii right now.
Okay, nice.
But I would take, when I think about like number one, we've talked about a lot here in this today. So this is definitely one to go back to, but I think a lot about how can you have your school classroom, just when you start showing, and I would show it in content all the time, but just all those things that you can do back there, with associations like the Hoka, the name brands, just having those banners on there, just number one is just going to intrigue them so much, right? I mean, I can't stress that enough. Like any content that you do, because it's like, just think about like when you're into something and you see that there's this place online or this portal online that has like every app you've ever seen, you know, that's related to running and what you do, every brand name that gets associated with running, every meet that you've ever wanted to run at or that you have run at, you're going to naturally gravitate towards that and see what it's about, right? And if you can do that in both the free or the paid or however you're going about it, like, and then actually have some value in each of those categories, each of those classrooms on that particular thing, and then get patterns associated with, you know, parents workshop. Hey, you know, maybe you can't afford the big name, or you can't afford the nutritionist, or you can't afford this coach. What if you had a place for your child to go to that was, you know, safe, secure, a community of other runners like them, but then they got access to these coaches for X amount of dollars per month instead of this, right? And then have that each week they can go plug into that, or, and then one for the kids as well, right? It's like, hey, you know, here's what we've got, here's what we're doing, here's where we're going to be, all those associations to me. And then, you know, I'm just going based off of what Landon talks about. It's like, if he had a place that he could plug into each week and he knew there was nutritional advice that was geared towards runners, he would be there 100%. If he knew he could go there and see the top 10 scores or whatever of the runners that he's following or that he's aspiring to be, or if he knew when the different meets were going to be at what time, you know, what race, where they could, you know, keep up with the people that are inspiring them, right? What are the best college? I remember when we were like thinking about where he was going to go to school, it was like, you know, it was like he was trying to consider what are the best running schools for these different levels. Like, what are the best running school at the D2 levels, at the D1 levels, at the whatever, right? It's like, become the thing for that. Because if you can attract all of those like premium, prime, actual, like legitimate runners to this place, the big brands that are going to reach out to you are going to be ridiculous. Like, and like I said, when I think about those banner spots or those top pin posts, or just those, it seems far-fetched maybe, or it seems like it's kind of, trust me, like, all Hoka would love to do, or any brand as far as that is concerned, is be able to just do you could interview whoever it is at those brands, and you could have that, you're like, hey, every 72 hours we can click a button and send it out to 10,000 premium members that we know are either going to be D whatever athletes, or going to be semi or whatever, you know, whatever that status levels are that make sense to those things. Done. And then you also get access to everything too now. It's like, right, yeah, make sure they're here. We want, because we know we'll show up in their thing where all of our people go.
So Mike was saying, for context, like, you know, if you get 10,000 members in a community, or 20,000, like having sponsorships with Hoka or Strava to pay for like a pin post inside of the school, they would easily pay for that, because that could sell $10,000-$20,000 worth of merch or whatever.
All these big brands, they're so big now. The only thing you can't force is community and audience. So when eBay bought Skype, eBay had programmers that could have built Skype better than Skype built Skype. But they bought it for $44 billion or whatever it was, because Skype had 400 million active users.
Right.
So it's like, just think like that in period. Like, this realm that you're in, the running realm, is picking up speed from what I've seen, but I've also got a D1 runner. So like, maybe it's just because I'm around it in a different capacity, but it seems like it's more there, especially when I go to buy shoes or anything. It just seems like there's more attention around this sport. But also, there's not a lot. So if you can bring together a community of these people and you have like a criteria to get in, or like, you know, they have to answer like 3 questions to get into the community, validating, like I was telling you about the dental thing, right? If you know that if they know that it's not just a bunch of runners, it's a bunch of these types of runners, that's a whole nother thing. And they're dying for somebody to be that, right? That's why it's like The Rock, right? Or, you know, any of these big celebrities, it's like they've built this massive attention. Like The Rock, I've never associated The Rock with tequila, right? But The Rock gets so big, and it just so happens that The Rock likes to drink tequila. So this Terramana was formed, and it's like a $6 billion tequila brand because he's got this huge audience already. So if you guys can start building that now, man, and the ads that you can run, think about running an ad where you're demoing the back of the classroom and it's showing all of these brands in there.
Right.
How can they not go do that? They see these top coaches, they see this top everything. And then there's just you'd be making more from affiliates. It's like a professional football player. You know, oh, they make 10 million a year as an athlete. That's cool. They make 180 million a year from sponsorships.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like that's where this lives. It's like you're building this place that everybody goes to, and then you've got control.
Caitlin Clark effect.
Yep. It's 100% what it is. But you have the ability right now to associate with all that, and there's no school running thing.
Right. And that's what I was saying earlier too with this school running thing, is that there's other groups that are out there, but they don't have this comprehensive, holistic package. Mostly it's just a group of community runners who like running and they're just kind of hanging out together, but there's not much structure. And then the live calls are really disorganized. But with our group, we're coming in there highly specific with professional coaches. And I like your structure where you typically go over a topic for the first 15 to 30 minutes, and then you go into open Q&A. Other communities don't even know about that structure. They never considered it. So when you get on their calls, it's just like, hey, and it's like, tell me something, teach me something. I'm here to learn. I want to learn, but there's no cohesiveness. So you're just kind of sitting there waiting for them to give you some value. But it's like, let me just go somewhere else because I feel like I can learn something.
Dude, I'll get Landon in there immediately. The kid's super smart too. Like he's like 4 point something in college. Like it's crazy. I don't think he's ever got a B. So like he'll see stuff, and then he's around us 24/7. So he's got this other perspective of things too. And I think he can give you perspective on your community as well. And shit, he would probably love to even be a part of it at some capacity, you know, and like I just see that as because he doesn't have anything like I know he doesn't. He's looking at shit that's happening on Instagram, and then just the randomness of things that they hear when they go to these, you know, these meets, you know, in college. Like there's just random things that they'll say and do, and it's like, why aren't more people like bringing more together on this? You know what I mean? It's like when we went to Portland to what's that big place? It's a crazy looking track.
Was it in Eugene or was it in Portland?
Eugene.
Hayward Field?
Hayward Field.
Oh, yeah, you were there last
crazy
year.
space looking, like
Yeah,
it's an
yeah.
awesome facility.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place was awesome. I mean, it felt pretty awesome being in there, you know, like just to know it was just for that. But there was like nothing like that would be the place to like, you know, and then getting these booths at that place. But you need to have like quick, like what are the instant quick win benefits of joining the community? You know,
Right.
what are those big high point features and benefits that I get the moment I join, right? Weekly coaching from top coaches and nutritionists and blah, blah, blah. Giveaways, you know, the leaderboard has this as you engage in the community, share things, unlock these leaderboards, you get, you know, gear drops, you get access to whatever. We've got an extra badge when we go to the next thing. If you want to hang out, you know, in the back side of things, you know, come help us when we go interview these coaches, hang out. I mean, there's so many things that you can do.
Yeah,
And
it
then
gets
these
really
colleges
exciting.
are coming to you too. Because they're like, where do they go to look? What can you do where you're giving them a measurement to look at, right? Where does the colleges go? I mean, they're looking at times. Yeah, it's like they're just scanning all the times across the nation and like, oh, there's a kid down in Southeast Arkansas at so and so podunk place. He just ran a 3:52 mile one time. You know, was that even legit? You know, like what? It's like if you can get people in there where you're badging them and you're like verifying, oh yeah, here's all the 4 minuters, here's all the, you know, that that that's huge.
Yeah, I mean cohorts of different runners because coach is going to be doing a beginner training plan, an intermediate training plan, an advanced training plan, and then we're also having a classroom section just dedicated to athletes who aspire to go pro.
Dude, Landon would be there. Like he wants to do that. He likes that. No, that's a serious thing, dude. And he's always looking for the next shoe. Like the shoe thing's a big deal. Like not a big deal. Like most of them know. And plus for the college, they buy all his shoes. But um, you know, like he's like, nobody realizes it, but man, at Ross or every once in a while, you can find some
Right.
legit running
12
shoes,
bucks.
you know, and shit like that. Yeah. And it's like, or like all the place you could have it mapped out. And maybe I'm talking about just duh stuff to you guys, but like, where's all the best places to go visit for 2 weeks, 4 weeks in high altitude running, and what kind of workout do I do when I'm there? You know, what do I pay attention to so I don't do this or do that? All those little packs. It's like when I mean, think about you could say something like that, like on a YouTube video or any kind of post. Hey guys, if you want to do high altitude or if you want to do this distance or this, and you want the confirmed workout, what to watch out for, what to not do, where to check in, where to park, where to go, where to what, where to this, we have that. Then we have a weekly nutritionist. We have a weekly like work. You know, like they're coming and they're staying, dude.
Could you go into the pricing breakdown of what we're thinking for that, for the monthly, the 6 months in the year, and the reasoning?
Yeah, so for our beginners, which is gonna mostly be associated with the kids we coach or local areas, that's will be our initial onboarding. We'll do that probably either until we do our official launch, which is around June 10th or a week after, as kids want to maybe get more words out to the local people, because that's where our audience will be. Obviously, we have experience in coaching in this area, in the high school area, but we thought a good onboarding option would be just $79 a month for kids in just on our team or that work with us locally. So from there, which will be 79 bucks for the next a couple weeks. Now we're gonna bump it up to 99. So the initial phase where we know people that we know will start at 79, but then we thought, okay, locally, if they onboard, you know, within that 2-3 period, maybe 2 or 3 people, then we can reduce their monthly amount to a half or something. Go from there, and then maybe we get 15, 20 kids on board early, and then once everything's officially launched and everything's good to go past that time period, then we bump it up to 99. Our 6-month period would be, these are for the kids that are onboarding that we coach or know. It would be $5 off per month at a 6-month rate, and if they go yearly, it'd be a $10 discount per month for a yearly rate. So if they do the yearly rate up front, it'd be 69. If they do the 6-month option, it'd be 74. Typically we're looking at 2 seasons, really cross country or road racing, typically happen summer and the fall, and then tracks usually winter and spring. So we'll have 2 kind of programs, which will be 6 months each, cross country road or track. And that'll be our version 1 package. And then obviously version 2 will be that following season when cross country rolls around again around this time.
It's like, what do they get if they get 5 people on their team to join? You know,
Yeah.
like that's good thinking, because it's like if they can get their buddies to join at the same time, you've got them locked in together. And then if there was some sort of challenge, think about the school games challenge.
Yeah.
How can you create that challenge there too? You know?
Mike, could you
Yeah.
just real quick, could you talk about like the iteration process of Skool compared to having everything done beforehand? Because I know that new members, when they come in Skool, they think they need to have a course and a product and everything done beforehand compared to a pilot program or a beta.
Well, like I said, you don't even want to building it beforehand is not, it's not like this isn't like an idea or something. Like you just don't do it that way. You can't, you can have your blueprint and you can build version 1 even into version 2 with them, but it's such a process of, you think this is what they need and you think this is what they want, but then they get in there and it's a completely different thing than you thought. And but if you can have a blueprint to run off of and build it with them, you can iterate within the moment, and then the next version you go around, you're iterating from a point of something that they already, like, through actual interaction and live reactions with them, know that they wanted, and you build that first product into something that they actually want, that resonates so heavy with the next person coming in, because you built it with a small group of, say, 30 to 50 people, and you got to get immediate feedback. So it's like, here's what we're teaching today out of our blueprint, and then you open up for 30 minutes to a half hour, 45 minutes, hour at the end for Q&A, and it's all recorded and baked into the first version. Then you go back and you listen to that, and then you, as those athletes move through that process, then it's like, okay, they're number one, there's a little bit of significance in there. Yeah, I'm actually in the course. They tell their friends, they get in there. That happens for sure. But then also you go back through that and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize they were needing so much help in this area. I didn't realize that one of the biggest problems is they don't even know how to find a coach that can help them, or they can't do this, or the price of this, or we didn't have, I didn't know it was this. But then when you go mimic that out into the marketplace, it's like, whoa, that's exactly what I was saying to my friend yesterday. Because you're building it. It's how they build software. You cannot know what all the nooks and crannies are until you get in there. And it's like, it's the way to build. It's called Agile Framework. You can look it up, but it, lay the blueprint out. You have to install I like to do bi-weekly, but have a bi-weekly Q&A call in there, where as they move through the program, you can get in there and say, okay, after reviewing module 2, 3, 4, and 5, or after last week's, modules or stages or whatever, what's your biggest concern, feedback, what's going on? And then you take that, and then you can go back and iterate that module, make it better. And then when the next crew's coming through, it's just like boom, boom, boom. And then they're like, dude, you need to go here. If you want it like right and to go fast, this is the place. And then that word of mouth just kicks hard. It's the way to do it. And plus it just builds so pure, so good. And all of the ideas for everything that you need to do will come out of that too. And just bi-weekly Q&A calls as they move through the modules. You set the first stage up very clean. It's like, okay, we've got, just based off my framework, we've got, it starts on this date. We're going to do module 1 on this day, 2 on this day, 3 on, and you just map out the whole thing. They show up, they go to it. There's Q&A at the end, and then there's 2 weekly Q&A calls that just happen every week on top of what you're doing with the first version. And then once you get that, and then I wouldn't get more than 30 is such a good size, 30 people. And then you tell them they get super awesome discount to be a part of the first 30. They all get something, something, something. Make a great offer for them that only those first 30 get, that nobody else gets, because they're the founding members. They're the founding members of this project or this thing. Go through that. The next cohort or the next lot that you bring through or that comes in, the homies that were already in there, those 30, they're kind of like the
Mhm.
you know, the alumni in there, right? Like they're kind of like helping. You'll see them coaching the other ones in there as they're going through, getting on the calls, and it just starts to live on its own. And
Right.
then you're making that next version better and better and better. That's and the better the course gets, the better everything gets. The product is everything. So always map out, and you can do this forever. I still do it to this day. It's like, hey, I'm going to be launching this program. It's for 20 people. Come in for the first version. Once I have that first version lit, then I can always iterate it and go back and fix it and just prime up another classroom that's really good. And then I can do unlimited amounts of content.
I think one last thing before, the 4 p.m. call happens, at least Pacific time, is could you talk about directly your example with Landon of what the parents are looking for when it comes to coaching? Because we eventually want to go target in greater regions like Sacramento, maybe San Francisco, those kind of parents who are looking for this kind of service, and examples as well.
Yeah, money's not the problem. Like, don't even consider like money being the problem at all. It's not a factor. It's, with coaching, it's so sensitive because the wrong information can screw you up. It can take you back 10 steps, or it can injure you or whatever, right? So it's more like, for us, it's like track record. Like the guy that we got with was, that we were it was $600 a month for him. It's like he was pro. He could prove it. He was like, he had his own little like facility thing that he worked at. He would take him do these workouts. But Landon was ultimately the judge. We didn't, as parent, we don't know what, to think about with that. Like, we're not in it that tight. We don't even, it's like, okay, you know. But what was important to us was it was he, his coaches at the time were just like basically volunteer at the high school, oh, I ran for 1 year in college, so that qualified them or something, to be a coach, or I guess. But they just weren't, they didn't know what they were doing. But he wanted to go to the next level. So we had to find somebody, and it was difficult to find somebody. So it was like making that move is huge. Oh, are you trying to find somebody? We got them lined up right here. Here's the prices, here's the everything. Or this new model where you've got low price pay. It's like Netflix. You pay $22 a month, you get access to all this stuff, right? Same thing with you guys. You can offer that. The other thing was, with the coaching and like the stuff that we are looking at, it's, I don't know what you're looking for me to say on this, Sahil, but it's, you have to talk to the parents through the kids, right? Like, so he came to us and he was like, here's this coach, here's his rates, here's what he does, here's all the stuff. And we were just like, we trust you, Landon. If you know what you need, just how much is it? We Venmo'd the guy $600 a month.
I
Right.
think like you're saying, the big insight I had was that for the parents, once they have a solution presented to them, it gives you relief knowing that that issue is taken care of for your
Yes.
son. Because then you don't have to stress about it. You don't have to be involved. You just know that that's getting taken care of.
Yes.
I don't have to spend my energy there. Someone else is handling it.
Yes. 100%. That's the biggest thing of it. It's like, okay, he's got something that he needs that's going to propel him to that next level that I don't know how to help him with.
That's for me where I want to frame the conversation in
And you just
person.
have, yeah, and you have to talk to, and then if you can show the A/B versus, it's like, do you want to pay a guy $600 and he gets one access to one person? Or do you want him to have access to 5 different people that are top tier for a lower cost because we're working with volume, and they have a community, and they have weekly Q&A, and they have all this other stuff that's coming along with it that you're building around this idea? It's like, no problem here.
Right.
And I mean, we would have spent $1,000 a month.
And his teammates spend 3,000 to 5,000 for stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the kids that he's like, these private schools and shit like this. I mean, these parents, their dad's a surgeon, mom's a lawyer, like a couple grand a month, 2, 3, 5 grand a month is like, You're just thinking, you're like, we came here just for vacation. 10 days was like $22,000 to stay here, like it's not a money thing. It's does it work thing.
Results, yeah.
That's what just you're speaking on that. You're speaking, hey, it's talking to the kid in a way that they can talk to their parents about it. Because at that level, from college to, I mean, if they're running in school, like this is a 5-year journey for Landon, 4-year journey for Landon, and he'll stretch it out as long as he can, like school, most of the runners are smart anyway, it seems like. It's like most of them, school's not an issue. They just want, how long can I run? It's like and then hopefully I can run afterwards and get paid for it, like for any amount of money, it's like, so you're not talking to, it's not a money thing. You're talking to those parents, especially the D1, D2 level, like it's just whatever, whatever makes sense for the kid. Because you're so involved at this point, we spent 6 figures just, well, probably more than that, just going to not missing anything. I mean, planes and staying and eating and going and shoes and this and that and doctors, this and that,
The running camps I think you went to as well.
Yeah, I mean, all of them, So at that point, you're so vested. It's like, if you can find something that's great, let's go,
Awesome.
I do got to get out of here.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Yep. So,
We
all
might be
right,
there.
cool,
We
man.
might be
Nice
working
meeting
on some
you.
stuff.
And
Mike.
yeah, man, like I said, I'll get Landon involved and we'll keep playing on this, but I like it. It looks good. There's a lot of opportunities here.
Perfect.
Yep.
Appreciate the feedback.
Thanks.
So, yep.
Bye.